Hi everyone, I am Aura Monalisa Rahman, and here I would like to explain to you about the story of Keesh. This is the analysis of story of Keesh, and I would like to explain to you. So, well, let's begin with the beginning of the story. The story starts with the information that the story of Keesh was a tale that had been told from generation to generation and to generation until the end of the time. And then from the beginning of the story also you can read the background of Keesh. Well, such as he was a bright boy, strong, healthy, and then he was 13 years old. He said in the story said that he already seen 13 sons, and I assume that it is 13 years old. And then his father died when he was a kid. His father died because he saved the people from famine by hunting the bears, but then he died because the bears crushed him. So sad. Oh, alright. And then the last is the background tell about he lives alone with his mother in Minas Igloo. Next, we're going to talk about conflict and climax. Well, the conflict starts with the critics that was delivered by Keesh, ignored by the tribal leaders. Well, technically here Keesh critiques about the divisions of myth. He thought that the division of myth was unfair at that time. In the next morning, Keesh brought a burden of fresh meat, and it was attract attention of people around. And literally, he was only 13 years old, and how could it happen? How could Keesh, 13 years old boy, bought a burden of fresh meat by himself? And then it attracts Beam and Bound. Beam and Bound saw every step of Keesh hunting. He saw that Keesh give a ball of something to the ground, and then it was swallowed by bear. But they didn't understand what happened. And just suddenly the bears fell sick, fell in pain. And then, since that day, the marvelous hunting always brought home by Keesh in the next following hunt. And here we go to the climax. Well, in the afternoon, Keesh came to the council, but his existence wasn't accepted, and he swore that he never step on the council anymore unless they back on him, and the meat that he got would be fairly divided. A lot of people put jokes on him and laughed at him, and he decided to hunt by himself. And then his mother only can saw him with gravy and sad eyes. Unexpectedly, Keesh always brought a bigger bears every time he went home from the hunt. And still, it's still a big mystery. How could a 13 years boy can hunt by himself a big bears. So here we are. We're talking about the ending of the story. Well, the ending story tells about Keesh never appeared again in council. While on the other side, a lot of people want him to be the candidates of tribal leaders. And then one day, Keesh asked to the hunters and people to meet him a big igloo for himself and his mother. And then, of course, they made it. And then they make it bigger than the tribal leader's igloo. As the time passed by, the mystery of Keesh hunting still in tribal leader's mind. So they decide to accuse Keesh using a witchcraft, which was make them shamed in front of people. And then after that, they send Bean and Bound to follow after Keesh to know the secret. But then yeah, they don't understand about it. They didn't understand about the trick step. After that, the tribal leaders and hunters lower themselves and to ask about the secret of the tricks. And then voila, the Keesh showed them the tricks. He took a strip of whole bone. He took a strip of whole bone and coiled it and covered it with small chunks of blubber. And then when he met a bear, he will give it to bear. Let the bear eat that. And when it came to the intestine of bear, the strip of whalebone will stand out and hurt the bear. And because of the bear was in pain, it's easy for him to kill the bear. And that's all the explanation of the story. And now we're going to talk about the best part from the story. In my opinion, the most impressive part from the story is when the Keesh swore that he never stop on the council anymore, and he said that the meat that he got from hunting would be fairly delivered. And then the other impressive part is when he can use his mind, his creativity to make incredible tricks, so it can make him easier to kill the bear. And what the reader can learn from the story is we need to be brave, of course, and then we need to be creative. Not only depend on strength, but also depend on creative mind. And that's all from me. Thank you.